Okay, welcome. I think we are starting right on time, which is what we intended to do. We are excited to have you join us today for this webinar on LinkedIn, and people are still coming in. So I'll kill just about a minute with some housekeeping and intros. Welcome to all the people. They're still connecting, quite a few more than we thought. Welcome, Bill, Faith, Amy, Drew, on and on and on. Ed, I like your name, Ed. My name's Eddie Price, and today's webinar is on LinkedIn and how to use LinkedIn to make your insurance agency grow, how to get more insurance customers using LinkedIn. So let me show you, you're seeing me probably, let me show you my LinkedIn profile. It's not too amazing, but do have 500 plus connections. So I think it's a little over 2,000 is what it really is. Wish it would show the big number. Here's Ira, and Ira's who's going to do the entire program today. And I met Ira a few years ago. He did some work for Jenesis and had an impact on what we're doing here at Jenesis. So we're excited to let him share his story and some tricks and some action steps and items and things to do. We're excited for him to share that to our customers. And we've got a lot of people attending today on this webinar that are not Jenesis customers. And we're glad you're here too. And also the cool thing about Ira, and I'm proud to be able to present him to my customers and other people in the industry, is that Ira is not a guy that decided he wanted to teach people LinkedIn. So he went out and learned LinkedIn and then started teaching it. This is a guy who built his business, another business, using LinkedIn. So that's just awesome to me. It's so much more authentic that way. So he's going to be able to share things today that he did that worked for him. And I think that's where I struggle so many times, is there's so many things out there that I try, doesn't seem to work, and then I move on to the next thing. So excited about what we're going to do. And people are still coming in. There's Ann, there's Maureen. Hey guys, Richard. So almost ready to turn it over to Ira here in just a couple of seconds. A couple of housekeeping things. Said again, I got to quit saying There's a Q&A feature that's part of this webinar. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to send a message right now to everyone. Hopefully you'll see this when I do it. And it's to test the Q&A feature. So I'm going to send, you should see something that says test the Q&A feature by saying hi, or I'm too loud or too low, or you can't see me, or something's wrong. Just do something so I know that a few of you are understanding how to use the Q&A feature. And through this presentation, as Ira's talking about things, and you have a question, please ask your question. We will answer some maybe throughout the presentation, and then others we will get at the very end. So let me know if you're seeing the Q&A feature, and just at least say hi or hello or something. There we go. Thank you, people. So I do see people using it, so I'm sure folks are seeing it now. Hello to you guys. All right. The other thing I'll mention, we're going to finish on time. We had originally slated this for 45 minutes. We changed it about a week ago to an hour. We will finish by 5 o'clock. If you have to leave before 5 and you're disappointed about what you're missing, send me an email. And I've got also, I think, let me see if I can pull this up. Here's Ira's contact information. You can send me an email, eddie@jenesissoftware.com. That's Genesis with a J. Or connect with Ira and ask him any questions that you don't get answered today. And I'll show this slide again in just a moment at the end. If you've got dual monitors, I want to mention too, it's fine to have us up on one of your monitors and LinkedIn up on the other, and tinker with some things as Ira goes through this. Just be careful not to get too distracted and down these rabbit holes because he may be on to the next thing. So balance that, but I would rather you have LinkedIn up than your email and, kind of getting distracted, because really do it for your own sake. Commit to this time and don't be doing other things. Hello, people. People are still there. Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you guys for communicating with me on that. Still more people joining. That is awesome. So a couple people coming in a few minutes late. So I think that's it. So I've told you about Ira, and I've told you how we met. So I am going to click on Ira here on my end, and it's over to you, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let me share my entire screen here, and we'll get going. And here we go. Can everybody see that? Eddie, can you see that?
Yes, sir. I can see that.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for taking your time this afternoon. My name is Ira Bass, and I like to call myself your LinkedIn guy. You can see that on my profile. That's exactly the way I present myself. Eddie gave you a little brief description of myself and my background, and one of the important things for you to know is that, as Eddie said, I just didn't one day wake up and say I'm going to show people how to use LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, the recession hit my door in 2007, and I was forced to start my own business. I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I never wanted to go to do cold calling. I never wanted to go to networking meetings. But I worked in the advertising agency world. That's not the insurance agency, the advertising agency world. And at my age, I was officially aged out, so to speak. And so I started my own consultancy. And I thought, well, how am I going to do this? I don't want to do those other things for prospecting. And that's when somebody one day said to me, have you ever looked at this thing called LinkedIn? This was back in 2007. Believe it or not, back in 2007, there were 25 million people total in the entire world on LinkedIn. It had only been in existence for a couple of years. Today, there are over 400 million people on LinkedIn, with over 100+ million alone in the United States. It has now become something where people are now, believe it or not, are paying attention to this, where before it was just, yeah, I've got a LinkedIn profile and I don't really know what to do with it. But today what I'd like to do is take you through two aspects of LinkedIn. There is the inbound marketing part of LinkedIn and the outbound marketing part of LinkedIn. My background is in marketing, so these are familiar terms for me. But when I talk about inbound marketing, it means when people are looking for you, what are they going to find? Outbound is quite the opposite. It is when you are the one doing the looking and you are seeking to promote yourself, so you are marketing yourself in an outbound fashion. Initially, we're going to talk about inbound marketing, and that essentially is what your profile is about. Now, there's several different aspects of your profile we're going to be reviewing today. But I'd like to just ask you all a question, and think about this for a moment. When you go into a meeting with somebody who you've never met before, what do you do today? I would venture to say that you do one of two things. You are likely to Google their names, or if you understand the power of LinkedIn, you're going to go into LinkedIn and you're going to look up their name, and you're going to then come to this thing called a profile, like you see right here. So the big question I have to ask everybody in the room is, if that is the case, if you're doing the looking for people who you're meeting with, don't you think they're doing the same thing for you? That's where your inbound marketing tool comes from. So Mama taught me a long time ago that you can only make a first great impression. And so this is your opportunity to really shine. This is not a resume. This is, in fact, what we call your digital portfolio. So I also need you to think about, in terms of your LinkedIn profile being your personal website, because it truly is. It's online. It can be found, actually, when somebody Googles your name, one of the first 3 to 5 search results will be your LinkedIn profile URL. You may not have realized that, but you may want to try it, and you'll see that that, in fact, is the case. And it's going to be true, too, for those people who you're looking for. So take that into consideration here, that this is your website. Yes, you may have a company website, but this is a website all about you, the person who your clients, your prospects, your customers are dealing with. This is you in person. So a couple of things here I'd like to bring to your attention. First of all, you might notice on your screen, whether you are a free or even a premium user of LinkedIn, you have the opportunity to present what we call a background image here. And it surrounds your entire profile head. Now, I do this for obvious reasons, because this is my personal brand. So I venture to say that most people in the room here today already have a logo, already have a way in which you position yourself or brand yourself. This is really easy to do. You just simply need to add it to your background. Right now, we're in a mode right now where I'm simply showing you how you view my profile, but in order to edit your profile, you simply go into edit mode, and you find it up here on your profile screen. And by the way, we are online right now. This is not your typical webinar, not in respect, and that this is not PowerPoint slides. You'll notice that I'm going to slide up and down the screen here, and you get a sense that, in fact, this is what people will see, and that's what you're going to be seeing for the next 30, 45 minutes here with us. So another thing I want to bring to your attention is this right here. Now, I've seen some pictures of people that make me wonder, what were you thinking? And I say that sincerely because one of the things that people need to understand and realize is that LinkedIn is not Facebook. Now, I'm a proud grandfather of 4. You won't see my grandchildren here. You won't see a picture of me that was cropped out of me getting dressed up at a wedding or whatever. You won't see that. What you see here is something that I consider to be very important. This is how I show up. When I show up for a first meeting, this is how you will see me. I typically wear a purple shirt. I have a smile on my face, and I really want you to understand that I am here to help you. So I want you to think clearly about your picture. And I want you to give consideration to even possibly getting it done professionally. I have to admit something right here, right now. My teeth are not that white, okay? But you know, for the purpose of presenting here, you know, it's a little bit of, you know, Hollywood going on here, and that's okay. Notice also here, right in this line right here, and I'm going to highlight it for you. Most of the people in this room, I would say 95% of the people in this room here right now, have not what I call optimized this line, otherwise known as your headline. Your headline is the most searchable part of your profile. I would venture to say that those of you who have not optimized it and created your own, that it simply has pulled your current position's title and put it up there. Now, this is the big #1 news flash that you're going to get out of this webinar. If you get nothing else out of it, this is the one that I want you to write down. As I said to you, your LinkedIn profile is like a website. Well, if you know anything about websites, they have been optimized to show up organically in a Google search. Your LinkedIn profile is no different. So what I've done here, and I suggest you do the same thing, is that you optimize your headline with keywords and phrases for which you want to be found for when somebody is searching for you using the advanced search function on LinkedIn. And we're going to go over that as we get to the end of our webinar here today. Okay, so take some time with this. It's important. It's the #1 most searchable section of your profile. #2, notice over here it says a web address, and that web address has been customized. It's my personal URL, and I suggest that everybody here in the room today customize it as well. Why? Because this in essence acts as your vanity license plate. It's what you are now going to be putting on all of your email signatures, on your business cards, on any collateral where you want to direct people to this profile that you have created, or we can help you create it so that it looks wonderful and you make it easy for people to find you by customizing this. You could put either the name of your company or you could put your name. If it's available, you own it for as long as you want it. I also suggest that you completely fill out your contact information section. And I'll bring it up to the top of the screen here. I can't begin to tell you how many times I come to pages like this on the contact information section is not filled out completely. And even to the point where I suggest to people that they have a Skype account or they have a Twitter account, that they don't have a phone number put in here, or they don't even give you an idea as to what their region is in which they're trying to generate business from. Obviously, these are elements here that are important. By the way, your connections can only see this information. People who view your profiles can see this, so they can check you out. Also, a couple things to notice on this contact information section, that you have an opportunity to present 3 different websites, and I've taken advantage of that. But I've also customized the label in which I put here, as opposed to many of you who have taken advantage of this, I would venture to say, have simply used the default where it says company website. No, you can actually customize that label there. Okay, we doing okay? Great. I'm going to go past this section right here for a minute and take you back to return to your profile so you can go into edit mode. I want to show you something here, because one of the aspects of your LinkedIn profile is that different than a resume or a static piece of paper, your LinkedIn profile can be populated with various sections added to it. And these are just a few that I have not used. As we go down through my profile, I'll give you a sense of the some that I have used. This is incredibly important because what this does for you is it enhances your presence on LinkedIn. It really gives people an in-depth view of you. You know, it's simple to simply say, here's my current position, here's what I do, here's what my company does. Thank you very much. That's all you need to know. Now, people want to know way more about you. And by the way, I think at this point, I have to stop and suggest something to you as well. Everything that I've just recently said to you about your profile and how people are looking at you, you now should be in a position, as we go through this, of looking at other people's profiles. Now, remember, when you look at somebody else's profile, these are all opportunities for you to have icebreakers. So when you are going to meet somebody for the first time, and you know that they went to a certain school, or they have a certain interest, or they support a certain organization or cause, or they're interested in sitting on a nonprofit type of board, you will have all this information in hand ahead of time. It's a little creepy, but at the same juncture, it's incredibly interesting to have that insight in advance, because now you can start a conversation freely and easily with any individual. So having the ability to add these sections is important to every single person in this room. I suggest you take advantage of it and try and emphasize by adding, you simply add test scores or add patents or any other things, and these are just some, and you can add them to your profile. All the sections in your profile are movable too, by the way. You have total control as to what is seen where and how. So I'm gonna go back to how you see my profile and take you to the next section here, and that is my summary. Some of you have a summary and some of you don't, I'd be willing to say. And those of you who do, I also be willing to say that about half of you have probably written it in the third person. Be mindful of something here. Your LinkedIn summary is your story. In other words, and without getting melodramatic here, I want to feel you. I want to understand who you are. I want to get a sense as to why you are doing what you do, how you got here today from where you came from. And then I want you to do something very important, particularly for everybody in this room. I want you to pre-qualify your clients in this section, much like I've done here. So I make it a point of saying, if you see yourself in these descriptions, let's talk. We can help you. So I have delineated specifically the types of organizations, the types of opportunities that I am looking for throughout my entire summary section. I then end off with a call to action. So I simply say, if you're interested in a certain part of my business, which this is what Eddie was referring to before, I still have, and actually it is the revenue generator for my company. I do media planning and placement for advertisers. It's what I did for 30 years in the advertising agency world. And I use LinkedIn to help grow this business, which still is vibrant today. So if you're interested in media planning or buying, that's how you reach me. But if you're interested in LinkedIn, this is how you reach me as well. I have a separate website and company now that's set up just for LinkedIn. And then finally, here's how you can reach me. I am open here. I am an open book. You don't need to be connected to me to see this information. I made a strategic decision to include this because I thought it was important to give people access to me regardless if they were connected to me or not. Do I get some people who are spamming me every once in a while? Oh, my spam filter takes care of that most of the time. I really don't worry about it. So take advantage of this section. You can use up to 2,000 characters in this section alone. I'm also not going to take you down to one of my current experience, and you can have multiple different experiences in your current and past experience section here. But again, I want to bring your attention to a couple of elements here. In your experience section, this area right here is known as your title. Now, if I would simply going to put my title in here, it would be your LinkedIn guy, and I wouldn't put anything else in here because that's my title. But because we happen to know about the LinkedIn algorithm and how it searches for people, it's important for you to use all 100 characters instead of the 15 that made up of my title to also put keywords and phrases in this section for searchable keywords and phrases, because this is the #2 most searchable part of your profile. Most people don't know that. Okay. I suggest in the section here where you describe what you do to keep it very brief. You don't want to give away the store. I would suggest that you drive people to the recommendations that you receive. By the way, if you haven't received recommendations, you should ask for them. It is what we call your social proof. It is what other people have said about working with you and why the people who are looking at your profile should feel at ease with giving you a phone call because they want to work with you as well. This is important. It's very, very important. And notice that I have decided, and you can decide, I have 30 recommendations for this particular position. You can decide which 2 reside right here. But now I want to get into something really, really interesting about LinkedIn when it comes to your digital portfolio and not just your resume. And that is your ability to add media of various different types to your profile. So as an example, I can add, and I did, a PDF of an article that was written about myself and my wife, who's also my partner in LinkedIn business, an article that was written about us in the Charlotte Business Journal. I was able to attach this to my profile. I was able to attach a Word doc that LinkedIn said to me that said my profile ranked in the top 1% viewed profiles in the world. I was pretty happy with that, and that's why it's here. I have a direct link to my company page. I have a link to a podcast that I put on with a gentleman out of the West Coast, and he had it housed on his Facebook page. I have a 60-minute video that's called A Taste of LinkedIn. That's kind of like what we're doing today, and even more. I did a webinar with a gentleman out of Australia, but we received a certificate of appreciation from a university. On and on and on. You have the ability here to truly give people a much deeper insight into you as the professional who they are considering to use for their insurance needs. To me, this is a no-brainer. This is something that every single one of you should be doing. You should be adding the media that you have, whether it's a video or a document or a pamphlet or a presentation. It could be any of those things. It is very, very easy to do. Okay. I'm going to move further down the page here because I want to show you some of those sections that I was referring to. Like an example, this is one of the sections that I added. These are projects that I'm working on. These are certifications. This is a section 2 that I've received as a communication coach. I am in a position to also do DISC assessments in values and attributes so that when you meet somebody for the first time using LinkedIn, you now can improve your chances of success because you know how you show up across that desk, and you might be in a better position of reading that other person if in fact you had this tool in your pocket. Obviously my education is important for people to know that I did actually go to school and it had relevance to what I did in my career, which is marketing. There are publications that I've produced, whether it's a newsletter or a flyer that I have housed on the web. And now I give people some insight into myself as somebody who is active in the community or what we're giving back. And especially in your industry, people want to know that you're involved. People want to know that you care. People will actually make some of their decisions based upon the fact that you have a common cause or a similar cause to what they care about, that you volunteer in the community. And so I don't do this just to try to draw people. This is in fact things I've really done, but it just so happens that it works when people are looking at this and say, oh, this is a person who I may want to do business with because I also believe in a drug-free society. Okay? These are some of the organizations that I've supported. And now you get into some a little bit of chest pounding here and patting yourself on the back. Any honors and awards that you received? I know some of you probably have bilingual opportunities with clients of yours. You can definitely tell people whether or not you're proficient in different languages. And by the way, when I put elementary proficiency here in Spanish, it means that I know a couple of words, but at least it's elementary. And then finally, at the bottom of my profile is your last call to action. It's your additional information section where you can provide people some insight into you as a person who is not in business, but what you do outside of work. So these are all searchable terms, by the way, that when somebody's searching it through LinkedIn, they actually can find people with similar interests. I give people my birthday and marital status because, you know, at the end of the year, every year that I'm alive, people get a chance to wish me happy birthday. And I like that, okay? And then finally, I have a final call to action here, advice for contacting me. I make it really simple and easy for people to get in touch with me because this is the last opportunity. As a matter of fact, if you got to the bottom of this page of my profile, I am totally thrilled that you got here. And that means this is my last chance to give you some insight into how to contact me. So that is your inbound marketing tool. That is your LinkedIn profile. What I'd like to do for a second is just take you right back to the top of the page and just draw your attention to one thing. When you look at my profile, it shows that I have over 500 connections. In fact, I have 4,623 followers, which includes connections and those people who are following me. The importance of developing and increasing your first level connections is one of the most important things that you can and should do on LinkedIn, because You don't know who knows who unless you sit down and look at who their connections are on LinkedIn. Now, yes, when you're calling on one of your clients, you may want to say to them, can you refer me to 5 of your friends or family? And that's fine, but that's just 5. When you're connected to your clients, or you're connected to your neighbors or your relatives or the people you've done business with, in most instances, you will now have access to all their connections and you can review them. And depending upon your relationship with the person who is connected to those individuals, you now are in a much better position of saying, do you think you can make an introduction for me? I would say that's incredibly powerful. I don't know of any other place that you can get this kind of information to know who knows who. So do whatever you can to increase the size of your network, okay? And that includes uploading your connections from your email system. And it's very simple to do just by following directions here. So as I said, that's your inbound marketing tool. What I'd like to take you through right now is what you do or could do on a daily basis, because quite frankly, once your profile is complete, you really don't have to go back to it that much. So it's the activity now that you create on LinkedIn that truly is going to make the experience for you. It's what you do on a regular and daily basis that's really going to make this happen for you. So a couple of things that I do every single day. I always check to see who's invited me to connect. And the way in which I see all those people is by clicking on See All. And now I can see those people. And I can also see if they've written me a personalized note. In this case, that is not the case. In this case, it is not the case. In this case, it is not the case. I think I'm trying to make a point here. And that is that LinkedIn makes it way too easy for people to click a connect button on LinkedIn and send out this default message. Now, I can't have a conversation with right now, but I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question. Is business a default message or is it personal? I would venture to say that it's personal, and actually it's the way in which I grew my business. You will never, ever, ever receive the default message from me. You will always, always get a customized note from me saying why I want to connect with you, who we have in common, what we have in common, what I liked about your profile, what you did on LinkedIn that I thought was important, what common interests we have. I would always cite some of those things in a connection request. And I'm telling you, your connection success rate will go sky high once you do something like that. So take that into consideration here. Look at your invitations every day. And if you'd like, you can actually respond to this person and say, hey, I appreciate you asking me to connect, but tell me why. Tell me why. Don't automatically say yes or no here, okay? Don't say yes or no automatically. You may want to go in the middle here and say, wait a minute, this person may be of interest to me because I could check him out by clicking on his profile. And then in turn, I might say, I'm going to come back here and say, you know what? This may be of value, but I still want to know a little bit more. So I'm going to write him a note. And when I do this, it opens up here. Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave that page. We're coming back here. Okay, great. All right. So I also, besides going here to the invitations, I look at my message center, which has been totally revamped recently. Just to give you a sense of what it looks like. It looks very much like texting. LinkedIn did this on purpose. As a matter of fact, their mobile app, recently they modified it about 3 to 4 weeks ago. It's a far improvement of what it's been. It now mirrors this. I actually like it a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is that I can't customize an invite on my mobile app. The only place I know that you can customize the connection request is on your desktop version directly from that person's profile. Nevertheless, I do check this out. I look to see what kind of messages I have, what kind of conversations are going on. And you can see there are a lot of different communications going on here. People that, I've either started a conversation with today or it's a continuation of a conversation in the past. And then finally, I look over here, notifications. And this is where I get an idea as to how many new connections I have, if people who are in my network have published new posts, which by the way, you can't publish to LinkedIn yourself, or whether or not I published an update myself and some people who saw it actually liked it and I get notified of that. That's what's saying right here. So this ends up being my overall message center, and I pay attention to this every single day. By the way, every single day simply means 30 minutes. That's it. When I am in just monitoring LinkedIn mode, it's 30 minutes a day. I know this sounds overwhelming to you, all the things that we're going through so far, but believe me, if you manage your time and optimize your opportunities, this will be like second nature to you in 30 minutes. It's really that simple. Now, when you get into prospecting mode, it's another story, and we'll talk about that later. So I also want to know, when I go to my homepage, who's viewed my profile today? Now, this is the difference between a premium member and a free member. I am a premium member, and I have been since 2007. And as a result of being a premium member, I can see all of the people who have viewed my profile in the last 90 days. If you are a free member of LinkedIn, you can just see the last 5. That's it, with not any time frame whatsoever attached to that. So it could have been 5 today, and that's all that they're going to show you. LinkedIn does want you to buy premium packages, and in some respects it does pay off, but I would suggest to most of the people in this room that you get really comfortable using the platform before you start thinking about using the premium versions that might be applicable to you. We could talk about that another time. But I want to know who these people are who viewed my profile, so I'm clicking here. And then my question to myself is, by the way, here's my metrics that can show my profile views. I had some activity here that caused my profile views to go up. I would venture to say that this webinar might have driven some of this. That just makes sense. But also because I posted articles, or I commented on articles, or I liked other people's content that they posted, or I just simply shared updates. That was it. And you can see the kind of activity. They give you an idea what's going on here. And they project that I had 42 profile views so far for the week. They're projecting 54. 54 people checked out my profile. What would I do with that? Eddie! Eddie, checking me out. Thank you, Eddie. Well, here's what I would do. Eddie, here's what I would do. Now, let's say I hadn't spoken to Eddie in a long time. Or maybe we had never even spoken after we connected. But notice over here it says connect or message. Now, in Eddie's case, we are connected. And I also, by the way, can see that we have 11 people in common. Actually, this is the gentleman that brought us together. And I would say, you know what? I haven't spoken to Eddie in a long time. But I did notice he was looking at my profile today. And so I would write Eddie a note, and I would hit message. And in here I would say, my profile was a subject matter. Hey, Eddie, I noticed you're looking at my profile today. Is there anything that I can do for you? Stay positive, Ira. And believe me, I have gotten business with that simple line. I noticed you looking at my profile today. Is there anything that I can do for you? It's just amazing how sometimes the most simplest things in the world can achieve great results for you. And that's, in fact, could be the case here. So again, I can now see all the people that have viewed my profile. Now, they have to have said that they want to have their profiles totally available for me to see. In this case, this is not that person. This person has decided to go relatively anonymous, okay? And then we know this person too, Eddie, right? Okay. So know that viewing your profile and who's viewed your profile is what I call one of the opportunities around every corner of LinkedIn. I'm gonna take you back to the homepage because there's even more here. If you notice the section over here, 15 ways to keep in touch every single day. Well, this is your network of people who you're connected to in one way or another. And so this is an announcement that this gentleman is having a work anniversary. Wouldn't it be nice, instead of me just liking the fact that he's having a work anniversary, that I comment on it and said, hey, Steve, congratulations on 10 years at Short Order Marketing Association. You know, maybe it's time for a celebratory lunch. 10 years at any place is a great achievement, and maybe we should do that. What have I just done? I mean, think about this for a second. What have I just done? This is an opportunity that has been created for me by LinkedIn. So I could just skip this one and go on to the next one and go on and on and on. It's good to see this guy has a job because we actually helped him out. This guy's gentleman's out in California. I'm actually going to say to him he has a new job. I'm going to like it and congratulate him. Congrats, Jim. Really happy to hear this. This development. Of course, by type rate, you know, this is how this works. But this is the perfect example of what I'm talking about. And then, of course, by the way, I always have a salutation. And I think it's important that each of you have the same thing. I always end up with stay positive, Ira. So Jim is now going to get this. Really happy to hear this and spell here properly, Ira. Okay. Okay, there you go. commenting, okay? And on and on and on and on. So these are opportunities for you. Whether you see notifications, whether people's anniversaries or they job changes or their birthdays are taking place, take advantage of this. This is just too easy not to take advantage of, okay? Also, I would suggest to you that you keep up, much like on Facebook. If those of you are on Facebook, this is not going to be alien to you. This is the essence of what Facebook is about on LinkedIn. This is the people who you have decided to follow or connect with, or you have decided that you have certain channels that you are interested in having served to you, or there are certain influencers on LinkedIn that you've opted in to receive their feeds. And in case I've opted in to receive Richard Branson's feeds. This is also where you're also going to see some promotional things coming through that people actually pay for. And that's another thing about LinkedIn that we're not going to cover today, but you can in fact purchase advertising in these feeds here so that people can in fact be affected by your message without them even following or connecting to you. Okay. Now, the next section I want to take you to is the groups section, because honestly, this is the place where I suggest you go to hang out. And what I mean by hanging out is this. LinkedIn has now opened up the groups section to where you can join up to 100. It sounds overwhelming. Actually, it is kind of overwhelming. Whether you need to join 100 is entirely up to you. But my suggestion to you is to join local groups. I would join regional groups, or I would join industry groups. And here's how you decide or find out what groups are available to you. LinkedIn just went through a change, actually, where some groups are standard and some are private. If it's a private group, you will have to be invited by somebody inside that group or the manager of the group itself. All of the groups are open for you to try to join. So here's how I search for groups. I go over here to groups. I'll type in the word insurance. And I will hit magnifying glass. 22,752 results. So they're usually in order of size, and in fact that's the case here. There are 155,000 members, and so what I would do is I would check out this group, insurance professionals. And I would see immediately that I have certain people, these are the admins of the group, and I actually have some people who are my connections that are already in the group. Christy Alamo, Lisa Price, Eddie Price, okay? So I now know that if I were to join this group, that I would have a bunch of buddies in here and they'd know who I am and they make me feel very welcome. It's no different than a networking meeting. Groups are just like an online network for you all of the time. Take advantage of these groups in ways that you probably haven't thought of. You can simply participate in the group conversation, okay? You can, and because I'm not in this group, I can't see the conversation right now, so I'm gonna take you to a group that I'm in. Okay. One of the groups is digital marketing. I'm just going to pull up that one. And this is the conversations that are now going on in this group. So now this might be content that might be of great interest to me. This is kind of like a very vertical and personalized feed of information that I'm going to find to be interesting if in fact I was very much into the digital world. Notice the size of this group. There are close to 850,000 members in this group. So this is an opportunity for me to like this conversation, reply to the conversation, okay? All these different things are going on here, and you can see that the way in which people serve content here, it gets likes and comments. Those are more opportunities, because if you're the one serving the content into these groups, then people will like and comment on yours, and that is an opening for a conversation offline. Not everything needs to be online in today's world. As a matter of fact, what you do for your life's work right now, most of it should be person to person. This is a great tool that gives you insight into those individuals that you're trying to connect with or do business with. So take advantage of the groups. They're very, very strategic for you. And I believe truly that this is an opportunity that goes unused tremendously by a lot of people. Finally, the last section I want to take you through here before we have some time for questions and answers at the end is where you are going to go when you are in prospecting mode. This is not your 30 minutes a day. This is when you're sitting down and you are looking for clients, opportunities, all kinds of things. Notice I simply hovered over here I click on advanced search. It opens up a separate box. And this is your advanced people search toolbar. But it's more than just a toolbar. It's got all kinds of criteria in here. I'm going to take you back there again. It does that every once in a while. It skips away like that. I can search within the groups that I'm in. I can only look for second level connections. As a matter of fact, let's try something. I'm going to put the word aviation in here. Now, remember I said to you that you should optimize your headline or your current title? I want you to notice something. When we do this search result, what happens when I put in the keyword aviation and where the search results will take us. Now, notice all the criteria here. I have the possibility of over 4.5 million results. That's because of the size of my network. This is an unbelievable great exhibition as to why you should be growing out your first level connections when you are using LinkedIn, because you have the ability now to search your first level connections, and third level, and even group members of groups that you're in. So let's try something here. Right now, this is set for aviation keywords, second level connections, and it's set for anywhere in the world. Now, I'm sure you take a client from anywhere in the world, but let's suggest that maybe you're interested more in your own backyard. My backyard is 28277 here in Charlotte, North Carolina. When I automatically put that postal code in here, it gives me the opportunity to decide whether or not I want to search 10, 25, 35, 50, 75, and 100 miles around that. Now, free users, when you decide whatever you're going to use here and you hit the search button, you are going to get 100 search results. Myself, as a premium user, I will get more search results. The more you pay, the more search results you get. Okay, so let's try this. The criteria is second level connections, aviation keywords, 28277, and let's make it 50 miles just to make sure we get a good sample size here.
And however, let me mention doing this that the point here, I'm hearing an echo. I'm hearing an echo. The point is that I sell insurance. I would get in possibly look for prospects this way for that reason. So if I sold health club insurance, I may be searching for health clubs and that sort of thing, right? I just want to put this in context on why they're looking in your example for aviation. Exactly. Whatever your target audience is, it could be aviation, it could be healthcare, it could be anything. It could be accountants, it could be, you name it. You can put that in here. You can search by titles, you can search by companies, you can search by even a school they went to, on and on and on. Well, these are my search results. So as an example, you might have recalled what I said to you before about the searchability of LinkedIn and where the keywords and the algorithm goes when they use a search like this. I want you to notice something. In this young lady's current position, aviation is a word that's in that title. Same thing in this person's title. In this person's headline is aviation. Same thing here, and on and on and on. So the importance of optimizing your profiles, headlines, and current title and position is incredibly important simply by virtue of this example. Now, I want to make something quite clear because I want to make sure we get this in before our time is up. Remember I said to you before about this default message that you sent to people or people send to you all the time? If I would hit this button over here, I would be sending Cassie the default message, or at least I think so. The only way that I would know for sure that I'd be sending Cassie a customized note is by clicking on her name and clicking on this connect button. This is the only connect button that I would press ever on LinkedIn to connect with somebody. Because once I click here, it gives me the opportunity to say, how do I know Cassie? It does not matter. It doesn't show up in the connection request. So I'm simply going to say I'm a friend of hers. And then what I do, you notice it says over here, include a personal note optional. Well, my point of view is it's never optional. I have to reiterate this to you. It's never optional. This should always be a personalized note to connect with somebody because your chances of success will be incrementally increased. So hopefully you got a lot of that, this section here in terms of advanced search so you can see what kind of results you get. This is a place where you go to do all of your prospecting. And to end off here, you can also actually save some of the search criteria that you've created so that LinkedIn will then remind you or let you know when some people come into your search results and you'll get an email of that. We've touched on just a few of the key elements here on LinkedIn today. But I would just like to recap for you.
LinkedIn is a marketing tool. I think that's quite obvious to everybody in the room. Your LinkedIn profile, your digital portfolio, when people are checking you out, this is where you go. Real quick story. I went to buy a car yesterday. My wife looked up on LinkedIn, who were the salespeople at the dealership. She found a young lady who was a salesperson. She was there for 16 years at a single dealership. You know how incredibly crazy that sounds, but she was. We called and asked for her. When we met her yesterday, she said to us, "How did you find me?" We told her it was on LinkedIn. She said, "Why did you choose me?" We said, "Because we were able to see that you're a veteran. And we knew that you knew you would take care of us because you know how to do this since you've been doing this for 16 years. Incredibly important. You can be a thought leader on LinkedIn. It's a job seekers tool. We can cover that separately at another time. But most importantly for everybody in this room, it's a prospecting tool. It's how you're going to grow your business. And this is where I spend my time and have spent my time in growing my advertising, media planning, and placement business. So Eddie, that's about it for today. Have you got any questions that have come in during the webinar?
We do have a few questions. One was, and I'm going to paraphrase, I'm trying to get clarification around the connect, where it just, like on mobile devices, and I'm certainly paraphrasing this part for sure, yeah, on their question. On mobile devices, I know, Ira, I've been on LinkedIn, I would click connect, and it would just send something. It doesn't even show me what it's sending. And you're saying that's a no-no. And then, but then there's another level that's a no-no. It's when you click online and it pops up and it defaults that message in, and you just go ahead and leave it and click send. That's the second no-no. Am I understanding you right?
That's absolutely correct. Actually, there was an opportunity for you to customize an invite on your mobile device up until about 3 or 4 weeks ago when LinkedIn modified its mobile application. And the application itself is far superior to what it was before. But for some unknown reason, they took out the customized invite opportunity that existed there before. Myself and other people who do LinkedIn training have been petitioning LinkedIn to please put that back in there, because we all believe that personalizing connection requests is important. The only place where anybody should connect from, in my opinion, until that changes, is exactly what we did when we went to Cassie's page here. Okay. We went right to her profile. We went right to that connect button. That's the only place that I can be sure of sending a personalized message.
Okay. The next question is, how much time should I spend on LinkedIn daily?
I said earlier, I think no more than 30 minutes when you are simply in just monitoring what's going on in the activity. When you're in prospecting mode, that is wide open. You know, this can really be a black hole. You can spend a lot of time. It gets very exciting, especially when you start to find people and cover people and you start to ask to connect with them. And in some instances, they actually respond right away. It's almost like a rush. So the prospecting part is entirely personal to you. How much time do you spend prospecting normally? I would allocate a portion of that to LinkedIn.
Okay. Next question is, I think I'm understanding what they're asking. Is it possible to hire an assistant to do your LinkedIn work for you?
To a certain extent, because, for example, we train CEOs, and we don't expect CEOs to be monitoring their inboxes, to be posting content, but we do expect them actually to write their own posts. But in most instances, when you're dealing with a CEO of a company, they will either have a marketing director or a social media manager. If they do, then that's great, and they can represent them and use and act as their voice. But I've been asked in many instances if I would manage somebody's LinkedIn for them. And on one hand, you know, sure, I would do that in a heartbeat, because, hey, I know that I could do it well for them. The fact of the matter is that I could do it well for them, but I'm not them. You know, I'm just not them. And so what I might find interesting, and you miss a lot of things like the group activity and the prospecting part of it. Yeah, I mean, you can hire somebody. I would call that a sales manager within your organization to do your prospecting for you if you have a large enough organization. But most of the people here in the room today, I'm assuming, are pretty much solopreneurs or close to it. So my suggestion is get your hands dirty. Okay. Get your hands dirty.
So I guess what I'm hearing, and, you know, I've not done this well at all, but I think, as I sit here, and I think if I were to do really well going forward, what I would do is I would put on my calendar 30 minutes a day. And then I would kind of also have this document maybe that outlines the things that I'm doing in my time. And initially it's going to be spent mostly around building your profile and getting it right. I went to you a couple of years ago, and because I didn't want to spend that time to do that, and worked with you guys there to do that, and other people at Genesis have done that. So we were a little lazy and thought it'd get done better if we did that. But otherwise, you would do the profile first, correct?
Yeah, I call that, I kind of like these analogies. I call that cleaning up the house before you invite company over.
Okay.
So, work on your profile, make it great, make it really supreme, because when somebody comes here, you want to give them a first great impression. But yeah, once that's done, then you move on to truly using the platform.
Okay. And so then let me go ahead and make sure I get this part right, because I'm really wanting to know this, because I'm making notes here and I'm going to go and try to do better. My profile is somewhat okay. I'm sure it's a work. It's always, needs to be evolving. But now that my 30 minutes is spent, let me tell you what I think I hear you saying. You tell me if this is right. Each day, my 30 minutes, I'm going to look and see who's viewed my profile, engage with them. Anybody who's requested connections of me, I'm going to engage with them. Then I'm going to spend time, a few minutes in my groups, where I'm making sure I'm connected to the right groups, and where I'm reaching out to connect with people inside those groups because we're part of the same group. Right. And then the last note I have, other than daily working on posting and groups, is the last one is recommendations. Should I budget in a process or a time where I'm going to, because what I did a couple of years ago, I came to a seminar you did, and at that time we had not talked, but came to this seminar. You were in a big room. I didn't get a chance to really meet you, but you, when I left, I did really well, Ira, for a week. and one of the things I did in that week was I sent about 10 or 20 emails or no, LinkedIn connections or LinkedIn messages to people, I guess, saying, would you please give me a recommendation? Right. And they did. I had, half a dozen or a dozen people write nice recommendations. But then I haven't done it in 2 years. So my question is, shouldn't people budget those things that I've just described? Is that the right tasks to do daily, and are there more?
Yeah, no, that's exactly correct. I mean, you probably should market that little list to everybody who's in the room, because I think you've really outlined it appropriately. It really isn't that much if you think it's just 30 minutes. I mean, everything that you've included in it does go by pretty fast. Once you get very comfortable with it, it's just like anything else in the technology age that we're in, you get comfortable with the software and you start zipping through it. And it's not going to be any different with this than any other technology that you're currently comfortable using.
Okay. Well, let me take this back over. Again, here's Ira's contact information. Reach out to Ira. If you would like the recording of this video, I think we're going to have this available. You're welcome to reach out to me. Let me kind of just get out of this and pull up my LinkedIn. You're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn, or you're welcome to send me an email, eddie@jenesissoftware.com with a J. And I think we should all connect with one another on LinkedIn, because this is a LinkedIn meeting. So please connect with me on LinkedIn if you're not. And if you are, say hello through LinkedIn and give us ideas about what you thought about today's program. And hopefully it was helpful. And if anybody wants my little to-do list, I would love to we could do the buddy system, Ira. These people attending, if they want to contact me and they say, hey, I need to do better too. Like, I'm admitting I need to do better. We need to come up with a little action plan of the 3 or 4 steps and time commitment and hold people accountable. So thank you so much, Ira, for your time today, for doing this for people. I know the things that I've learned from you in the last 2 years or so have made a difference in our company. And I believe if people will take what they've learned today and really do something with them, that it will make a difference for them too. And I would also say, I know you're not selling anything today, but I will mention to people, I tend to do better when I engage help. So I reached out to you a couple of years ago. It helped me. And if anyone feels like I just can't get this done, I would encourage them to at least talk to you and understand what you could do, what you and your folks there could do to help them, and see if it's a good fit or not, see if they want to do that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We love helping people. It's one of the things that we enjoy more than anything is watching other people succeed just by virtue of sharing what we did and we continue to do to grow our own business here. So thank you, Eddie.
Well, you're welcome. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Hopefully this was helpful. And let us know of other ideas that you have about webinars like this. Would love to do more. Ira, were you going to say something?
Nope, that's it. I'm done.
Thanks for your time, Ira. Everybody take care.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.